What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to this latest episode of Partner First. Lord knows I've missed you guys. I'm so happy to be doing this once again. You know, Partner First, it's all about thought leadership. It's all about vendors of note and bringing the best ideas for the MSP ecosystem out to you. And I'm very happy to see you. I see IBS admin already saying thanks. As always, this is not just about us. It's about you as well. If you're in the chat, either on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, please bring up your comments, bring up your questions, anything you want, because this is going to be interactive. This is not going to be death by presentation, as Simon likes to say, or death by PowerPoint. Today, we're joined by two experts in the field of recognition and response. And we're going to be talking about Google reviews, testimonials, and referrals. Oh my. I don't know about you, but when I first started in MSP land, almost all of my revenue came from referrals. I couldn't market to save my life. It was all make Susie happy. Susie told Tom. Tom asked me about what I could do, and that was my next sale. And I felt like a superstar because, you know, I closed every deal. Of course I did. It was a warm referral, right? Referrals are, you know, the golden goose of all inbound leads. So we're going to talk to some experts in that from Crewhu. As always, this is recorded. It's live on the three platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, but it'll be immediately available in recorded fashion right afterward in those same channels. So without much further ado, let's welcome Caesar and Stefan. How you doing, guys?
Yeah. Great, Ray. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So when we were in the backstage, you know, Stefan, you started first. I'll let Caesar go first this time. Caesar, why don't you tell us about your background and your role over at Crewhu?
Sure. Yeah. Cesar Bojorquez. I'm the director of marketing for Crewhu. I work with our sales team, and then looking to put some messaging around what we do for Crewhu and our platform. Excited to be a part of the team, and looking forward to doing more webinars like this with you guys and our partners.
All right, and the man, the myth, the legend, the style, fellow South Florida person, Stefan, tell us about you, your background, Crewhu, why it's awesome, why you're awesome, man.
Well, I founded Crewhu, really back in 2013, and we were having a conversation. I brought Cold Stone Creamery, which is an ice cream franchise, to South Florida in the early 2000s. You know, we had over 100 employees, and these are frontline employees, and I was just having a tough time with turnover and how management was treating them. And I was looking for a platform to figure out a way to not only measure customer service from multiple locations, but also recognize the guys on the front line, to tell them, thank you, we appreciate you. At that time, we were getting 1 or 2 complaints for each store, no compliments. So I really didn't have a good sense of what was going on. I went into this system and I saw it took 20 clicks to leave a complaint. So I was like, okay, you have to be really pissed off to leave a complaint, right? And it's good to get those, but there's so many opportunities that we're missing. And we put in this workflow where they would get an email with a 1-click survey. How did we do? And it went from 2 complaints to 100 pieces of feedback per store per month. And 97 of those were compliments. So we just created these opportunities to be able to give these employees kudos for all the hard work that they're doing, because they are the face of our brand. You know, fast forward to 2016, some MSPs found out what we did. They started to try to use us. And we weren't focused on this market, but we saw the potential and the integrations with the PSAs, and how we could take that integration and recognize the technicians delivering this great customer service on a daily basis, and turn the whole idea on its head, right?
Focus on. It's funny how many great ideas come to the MSP space from different industries. You know, recognition, getting feedback, those are universal needs across any kind of business, right? Whether you're delivering, you know, delicious ice cream or whether you're providing top-notch service. I can only imagine how pissed somebody has to be to go through 20 steps just to leave feedback. Like, it's almost like you're amplifying it by the time they left that feedback. It's like you're guaranteeing it's going to be some kind of nuclear thing. Did that adjust the response style once you lowered that bar?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we went from 2 to 100. I mean, it was incredible. And actually, when the MSP market started to focus, started to jump in here, and we started to develop it specifically for the MSP market, we didn't look back. So from 2016, we were focusing on ways, how can we make it easier for the MSP to collect more feedback? How can we make it easier to create opportunities to celebrate the small daily wins? And this is my mantra. I'm always saying this. Let's figure out how to increase opportunities to celebrate those small wins, not just the big sale that your star salesperson brings in, because that's normally when you celebrate. It's Johnny on that ticket, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. MSPs, you talk to any MSP, right? And the S is for service, and they'll talk about how their clients love them, and and I had this when I ran an MSP. It was the clients love us and they're fantastic. And the question is, how do you know? How are you so positive that they love you? How are you so positive that that what your perceived experience was actually what they experienced, right? From their side, it matched. And yeah, that recognition that it's not just about the employees or the clients happy, but it's also about the employee just celebrating them and saying, hey, you did an awesome job, we want everybody to know. So I love that.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And really what we're talking about today is taking that satisfied customer and amplifying it up, so you could scream it from the rooftops and let everybody know that you're delivering this great service. Because it's not the tech stack that's going to differentiate one MSP from another. You may have the coolest and newest technology today, but believe me, next week someone else is going to have that same technology. But it's the people and the processes and that strong service culture that you have in the organization. That's the superpower. That's going to be the thing that differentiates you.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. If nobody knows that you're awesome, then you know what I mean? If you're not proclaiming, if you're not putting it out there, how does anybody know? It really didn't happen, Yeah. So I love putting it, and it's hard to do that without sounding braggadocious, right? It's hard to put it out there, say I'm awesome. And, nowadays more than ever, the buyers are educated, they're intelligent, they're looking for information, not just what you tell them, but what they can see for themselves. And that's why a lot of these reviews and stuff are so important, in my opinion.
Yeah. I gave a presentation at Robin Robbins Producers Club just last week, and we actually talk about the customer buying steps, and it's they define the problem, right? They search for the information online. They evaluate you along with some other alternatives, maybe, and not until step 4, when they're going to make a purchase decision, will they even call you up. You are nowhere to be seen in that process. However, if you do your work up front and you're collecting reviews, and I say Google reviews on here because that's the staple for the MSP industry, because it's location based and it's the best location based review site. If you have that, they're going to take that into account when they're evaluating the alternatives, and you will be one of the 1 or 2 or 3 choices they'll be evaluating at the end.
It's funny how many MSPs talk about the magic, the black voodoo magic of like marketing and SEO and how to get top results, and they don't realize the absolute easiest and freest way to do this: get reviews. Reviews pop up. You know what I mean? And it doesn't cost a penny, just a little bit of effort. It doesn't cost a penny. And you've created ways to make that easier, but you want your stuff to pop up. Well, get 50 or 60 or 100 reviews and you're going to start popping up more than others. And it's funny how many MSPs miss that very simple step.
Yeah. It's low hanging fruit. It's, if you get the reviews, you will be at the top of the page, or at least close to the top of the page. And there was this statistic I had uncovered where they said, 67.6% of the total clicks are given to the top 5 non-paid results. So if you're up there, if you have the Google reviews, you're going to get clicked on, and you're going to be, one of those alternatives that they're going to be looking for IT services in your area.
That's nuts. You spending, especially those with marketing budgets, spending $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 a month on CPC or SEM or whatever they're doing.
Yeah,
that's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, and there was a couple of other stats in the presentation as well. So that's being visible, right? Now credible. Yeah. Now say you do your SEM and spend $10,000 and you're up on the top, or you're paying for an ad, but you don't have those reviews. 49%, almost half of the people think the quantity of reviews are important, right? 85% will only look at a review or think it's relevant if it's 3 months old, right? 92% of B2B buyers are more likely to purchase after reading a trusted review, right? So you need to have not only the visibility, even if you pay for it, but you also need to have the credibility. And if you have both of those, you're going to be in the running to grab that business. Ray, I think you're on mute.
I mean, it's part of any Zoom, right? Any webinar, you're supposed to at least do some of your presentation in mute. It's a given of the current times. I was going to say, I knew the numbers were powerful. I didn't know they were that powerful, right? I didn't know, they say there's no guarantee in marketing. 94%, 92%, those are pretty damn good numbers. I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah. And I had this, when I gave this presentation live, I started with a story about Clear, a company called Clear. Have you heard of that company?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. For those in the audience, if you heard about Clear, give us a thumbs up or a yeah. I travel a lot. We go to conferences throughout the year. I got this offer to try Clear for free from American Express Platinum. So it was a no-brainer. I got to try it. And for those who don't know what Clear is, their mission is to get you through security faster. That's it. So I could get to the Delta Lounge in record time instead of having to wait and show my ID at the security gate. These guys were so great. They were so great, so positive, right? Their mission is to get me through, but I wanted to hang out there and talk to the guy more on a personal level because he was just so cool. And just like any good company, they sent me a review afterwards, and I had that on the next slide, which was a rating from 0 to 10. And I wrote a review. I captured it. I screen captured it before I sent it because I wanted to show what I said. And I mentioned I had an amazing experience, but probably not due to what you think. It isn't your product, which is pretty cool, but it's your team. Your employee, the person representing you, and your brand was amazing. He oozed joy and positivity to the point where I wanted to wait in line longer just to hang out with him. I feel bad for Chick-fil-A, another one of my favorite brands, because you're probably stealing all of their A players. Great work building a great team. Boom. It's all about the team for me and customer service. Now, when I was preparing for the presentation last week, I was curious, and so I went to Google and I Googled Clear reviews, and you're going to guess what I found. You're probably going to guess right, because what I found was surprising to me. It was a 2-star rating out of 344 reviews. Now,
Wow.
if I got a promotional email, Ray, and they said, hey, sign up for Clear for $179 per year, not a big investment, but if I looked at their reviews and I saw 2 stars, I think it was Yelp in this case, I probably would not go forward. I probably wouldn't give it another thought, and I just go on with my life with my TSA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thing, right? But since I got this promotion, I got the opportunity to try it, and I love it. I'm so happy, right? But they missed an opportunity with me. I gave them a 10 out of 10. I gave them such a descriptive review of how much I love them. I would have given them a Google review or a Yelp review or whatever if they asked at that moment. But they didn't, and I went on with my day. And I haven't given it another thought since until I started preparing for the presentation.
To be fair, I'm looking at Chick-fil-A reviews, and I see a bunch of 3.5 and 4 stars. I don't think I've ever had a bad experience at Chick-fil-A ever, including some of the ones I'm seeing on Google. That's it. So do you have any, I know I'm kind of going off-roading here a little bit, but these reviews, you can't control what comes up there. And as as a fellow founder, fellow CEO, it hurts when you see a bad review. Do you have any ideas or any opinions on appropriate response when something like that comes in?
You have to respond to them immediately and publicly, and try to get the conversation to a one-on-one. Sometimes it may be fraudulent, and you could say that, hello, sir or ma'am. I looked, we're an MSP and we have 50 managed customers. I don't see that you're one of our registered users. Was this a mistake or meant for another business? Always be professional,
Right.
But state the facts, because sometimes there are fraudulent reviews out there, and there's ways where you could speak, there's a process you go through to get them removed from Google. But if it's not a fraudulent review and it's a real review, upfront, apologize, say we want to make it right. Please let's get on the line and talk. And one of our services is a Net Promoter Score survey where you're going to get promoters who love you, but you're also going to get detractors who aren't happy with the service. Now, they're answering because they like you still, and they're giving you a chance. The worst is when they don't answer at all. That's when you have to really worry. The no response,
that scary silence,
are the ones that I worry about the most. But if you answer the detractors immediately and just listen to them, they just want to be heard, even if you don't have a solution right then. And that's a response a lot of companies give. They try to give a fast solution, and they try to overpromise something, and it makes them even more disappointed. My whole thing is listen and say, I heard you. I'm gonna see how we can make this right, and we'll be in touch about this. But you started the conversation with them, and they feel good that you just care. And if you could show
that's my whole thing. I mean, the old Navy SEAL saying, embrace the suck, right? Like, I personally see every interaction, good, bad, or otherwise. I'm with you. Silence is terrifying. Any kind of interaction otherwise is always an opportunity, right? If they're sitting there and they're talking to you and they're saying, I had this negative experience, that's an opportunity to own it, get some accountability around it and say, let's make this better. You're right. We dropped the ball. We're horrible. You're absolutely, this was not what you should expect, and it's not what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you for bringing it up. Let's make this right. Even if the client doesn't want you to make it right, that's fine. But somebody else, I like to always say, you're not just speaking to the person you're speaking to when you talk publicly, you're speaking to everybody else that's watching quietly. You know what I mean? And if they say, okay, well, you couldn't make it right with that client, but you're definitely eager to make it right anywhere else, that's going to have an impact on anybody else reading those reviews. So, in Dallas, in Soviet Russia, the company review you. You know, if only we're that, I know I'd love to be able to review customers. I know better than to do that, but I definitely would love to at some point. But yeah, no, I'm all about that. Embrace the suck, do your best, speak publicly, speak quickly, just don't hide. And for the love of all that's holy, don't be quiet. That's just as bad.
And we all make mistakes as companies, as managers of companies. We're not perfect. And anybody who tries to portray themselves as perfect 100% of the time doesn't come across as authentic. So having those conversations publicly, I think, adds a lot of credibility and authenticity to your brand as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And that negative review, by the way, it could become positive. They could send another one in saying, "Loved how you handled our problem. Thank you."
Yeah, make that detractor a champion for you. So Leslie's asking, is it possible to get rid of slanderous reviews? I think that's going to be platform dependent, right?
Yeah, I know that, and I know Google's strong in this community, and that's why we mention them by name. And I know that they have a process where you can do that. And especially in this MSP community, traditionally, you have a number of customers in your area, right? So if I don't know, I'm sure they could do anything, Google, right? So if you start to get reviews from the Soviet Union, I think they could track where those reviews are coming from, and you have a case. On the other hand as well, there's people that may try to get more reviews by calling up Fiverr and saying, "Hey, can you get me reviews?" And so from this guy in someplace in Asia giving you positive reviews, that's not good either. And I think Google could track that. So be above board, look to get positive reviews, real positive reviews from real customers. And you are going to track well in this search.
That's an interesting one. A unified platform for MSP reviews. I've seen that request many times. Every once in a while on our MSP, I'll see an MSP client or a prospective client spill into they're asking, is there a way I can find reviews of MSPs? I don't think one exists right now. I think Google is the de facto. Do you have any other platforms that you think are centered around MSP reviews? To review customers? I think that's dangerous. As much as I would love to do it, good luck with that.
A great review of customers is to fire the bad ones.
There you go. Absolutely. Oh man. All right. So customer reviews. Customers don't give them. Employees don't ask for them. I have no time to focus on them. What am I looking at here?
Well, so these are the problems, right? And I brought this up because this is what we hear from the market. How can we get customers to give more reviews? Our customers aren't giving us reviews, or as much as I tell our employees to ask for reviews, they're not asking for them. Or you know what? I'm putting my security product in place. I'm putting my VoIP product in place. I have no time for this. And I hope with the statistics we talked about earlier, I took care of number 3, and you realize how much time, that you need to make time for this. It's easy. It will actually save you a lot of money in marketing investment. I mean, think about this, and I put some numbers here. Say you have a $3,000 average MRR, right? Say you have a 40% margin. Is a 40% margin a good margin, Ray? That's doable in this space?
Net, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, 40% margin. So that's on a $3,000 MRR. That's $1,200 in profit per new customer. That's $15,000 approximately for a year. So 15K. Say you get 100 new leads using these Google reviews, just leads. Let's just say a conservative conversion rate of 25%. I think 40% is doable, but let's use 25%. That's 25 new customers, $15,000 of gross profit, that's $375,000, right? If you want to be more conservative with the leads, if you get only 50 leads, same conversion rate, we're looking at $180,000 in profit. Say we even want to go lower. We want to use 25 new leads only throughout the whole year. That would be 6 new customers, $15,000 a piece. It's $90,000 in profit. Just on focusing
That's
on
pretty
how
sweet.
it more reviews.
Yeah. Marnie from Lifecycle would be very proud. Or anytime we do math on one of these webinars, she's always happy about that. But yeah, I mean, it's astounding numbers for minimal effort. It just, I mean, I don't want to minimalize it. It's just, you know, collecting reviews, doing something about the reviews obviously is much harder. But, you know, thanks to platforms like yours, collecting reviews isn't all that complicated. You know what I mean? We pay account managers hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to sit there and reach out, when you have automated platforms that can do, you know, they can get better responses, more frequent responses, and already have the data ready to go. I just don't understand why any company is not leveraging stuff like this. It just makes too much sense to me.
Yeah, and there's easy things that you could do to make it easier for them to give you more reviews, right? You know, so make it easy for the customer. You must know your link that will take you directly to your review page. So all they need to do is to type in the information. Don't ask them to give you a Google review and now they have to search you, find you, look for the review page. They're not going to do that. That link could have a multiple purposes as well. You could give this to your account managers. If they had a great call or a great QBR, they could send them that link, right? You could use that link in workflows. You know, one of the things that we do is we make it easy to collect feedback on tickets. We were talking about that earlier. And we have a workflow that would take them right to your link, right? If they gave a positive review, they click on the link, the Google review link, and boom, they're at your page to give a review. We do the same thing with our net promoter scores that go out every 4 months to all the decision makers. They could give Google reviews, right? And all these guys also, the guys that are giving you reviews, perfect referral candidates to get you even more business.
Yeah, that's one of the things we leverage. You know, we have, you know, I had put it up briefly. We have a short link over to our own review, and you know, we'll send it out once, you know, especially if somebody says, you know, I had a great experience, blah blah, they give something nice back on a ticket. You know, my staff is trained to respond back, thank you so much, reviews mean a lot to it, reviews like this means a lot to us, would you mind copying and pasting that here and giving the link, and the minute you do it, it takes you right to a leave a review. They don't even have to click on anything, it's just right then and there. We include those in our signatures. We don't get a lot of response from the signatures, but it's always there. The idea is to make it as easy as possible for the client to get there, so they know it's just easy to leave a review, good or bad. You know, we're always open to those responses.
And the reason why it's good after a transaction is because if they felt like you gave them something, you gave them value, you know, it's the law of reciprocity. They feel like they want to do something back for you. If you're asking out of the blue, the probability is going to be a lot less that they will respond with a review than if you just did something.
It's funny. It's Farmville was created around that, right? The old Zynga game. That, you know, there was a psych study done on social obligation, where I gave you a cow for your farm, so you're going to give me something for my farm. It created that social obligation. I call it, you know, closing on the honeymoon phase, or that first date, right? You did something, they're in a great mood, they're happy you did something. That's the best time to ask for something back. And it's not a sleazy thing at all. It's just, you know, you're taking advantage of the opportunity. It's the right time to get them to say something nice. I do see a question here from Shabir, is asking, how do we collect video testimonials and reward customers with an Amazon gift card at the same time? Is there a platform available for that? I'd like to hear your opinion on rewarding reviews, particularly also. I see that's a common go-to.
Yeah.
But, you know, with kind of mixed responses.
Well, you know, Google doesn't like that. So Google feels like you're paying for people to give you an award, right? There's a lot of debate on that. And people are like, it's not totally authentic. You're rewarding them for giving you feedback. You know, and then there's the other side, right? They're your customers, so they're authentic reviewers. They're not there's no funny business here. And the way I see it, if it's a little reward and you're actually saying, hey, for your time, you know, it's going to take you a few minutes, but you're spending your valuable time. Here's a cup of coffee on me. You know, I don't see that as a big deal. However, you know, Google makes the rules and doesn't like for people to do that. And you have to know that, you know, before you make a decision to reward for reviews. I would recommend trying it without doing that first and see how it goes. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you start to use some of these tactics, these processes, that you're going to get a lot more reviews than you think, even without the reward.
Good to know. Yeah, no, I agree with all of that personally. It's, you know, I don't mind offering, you know, a gift card or something for jumping on a call just to touch base. I'm not sure I'd feel comfortable. I know I'd feel questionable about offering something for a review, just because of the appearance of, you know, of impropriety. But, you know, that's the part we're in, right? I mean, there's been so much vendor shadiness in our community that I'm always trying to go above and beyond to make sure we're not perceived as the bad guy. So, you know, it's part of our business. All right. So what do we got next?
We could talk about, well, say the launch CSAT and ask for online reviews, right? So this is what I was talking about before. You're going to have your ticket process. You're going to ask for feedback, and then you're going to ask for an online review in that workflow. So you're automatically asking them for reviews. So it's right there. You just did something great for them, and it's a perfect time to ask. They're not always going to give it to you, but you can always follow up with that reviewer as well through your account management process. But having that plus the account management process, you're going to find that you're going to be able to get a bunch of reviews.
Okay. And so can you explain NPS for me? You know, I'm an engineer. I'm not a marketer. I'm not, you know, an account success person. NPS, I know it stands for Net Promoter Score. I get that. What's the difference between NPS and traditional CSAT?
So CSAT is based on the transaction. So what you're doing here is you have your ticket. You want to know how the ticket was resolved. Are they happy with the resolution, or are they not happy with the resolution? Right? Same concept for restaurants. You go to a restaurant, have a meal. Are they happy with the meal or not? This is all transactional. Doesn't mean they love or hate your company. We're just talking about that one specific transaction, and it helps you improve operations. Right? So if you get a bad rating, which is a good rating in my opinion, you find where you have deficiencies and you can focus on them. And also when you get a positive rating, which is going to be the majority, I promise you it's going to be the majority, you're able to recognize your team members, you know, and keep morale high, because being on a help desk is not an easy job. All they're hearing is complaints all day long. Right?
It's so reactive. I used to be there, right? Like when I started the MSP, I was the help desk. Thankfully, I hired somebody within the first 6 months, but I still, you know, worked the help desk for years, and because we started, you know, bootstrap, and you know, so I'm always cognizant of like employees come in. I'm a firm believer tech should start on the help desk. It teaches you empathy and understanding the other side, the customers, their experiences, teaches you soft skills, but you know, I think there should always be an eye to when can I get out? You know, I have a special place in my heart for those people that are lifelong help desk. I don't know how they do it. my hat's off to you if I was wearing one, because that's a special kind of skill to sit there and do printer tickets for 20 years or whatever. It's a tough thing being completely reactive. So, and some people are built that way. Some people have those skill sets.
And your brand is built on how they take care of your customers long term.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the transactional, and this is kind of long winded. Yep. We're now getting to the real question.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah.
And so MPS is relational. It's not based on the transaction. They could love the help desk, but they could not. That maybe they don't like your tech stack. Maybe you don't have the right security offering that they need. So what their your net promoter score in their perspective may be a 6, which is a detractor. And they're saying, hey, yes, you're taking care of us with your current set of your current skill set, but you don't have the skill set we need going forward. Now, if you got that detractor, you of course would call them immediately and try to understand and dig deeper into what their expectations were, what they were looking for, and maybe it would help you to strategically shift your priorities to focus on that tech stack that may meet their needs better. Of course, you're not going to do it for just one customer, but if you see that as a trend for your entire customer base, it's going to help you move in that direction. And by doing that, you're going to turn that detractor into a promoter. And by doing that, you're going to create and offer a better product.
So I love that. Thank you, because we've run conferences. Obviously, we do our marketing, we do our other stuff. And, my marketing team has done things to gather our MPS scores, and they've explained it to me. And I understood what's good and bad, never understood the difference. So I appreciate you for finally educating me on that.
No problem. And by the way, CSAT and MPS should both be used. You shouldn't just go with one as opposed to the other. Having a full picture is important.
Cool. So getting customer satisfaction, increasing it, right? It sounds easy. It sounds like we give great customer service. Of course, they're already happy. How do we make them happier? But what is this about? What are we talking about here?
The whole idea was to really, it's about identification, right? Understand who your promoters are, right? And work with them to get reviews, work with them to create case studies, work with them to be on your product board. Maybe they could help even more. With your detractors and your passives, you want to work with them to figure out what the problems are and to decide if those problems are worth pursuing, if it's worthwhile in the greater good of all your customers, right? And it will help you define your strategy going forward. The more advocates you have, the faster you'll grow, because the more people will be talking about you, not only in reviews, but with referrals. I mean, the reason why we go to conferences throughout the MSP channel is because we have a lot of customers that go to those conferences, and right there in the conferences, our customers will talk to prospects who are interested. And when MSPs talk to MSPs, everybody's listening, right? And it's not just me being a vendor talking to an MSP about why our platform is so great, right?
It's funny. I've seen those champions. What do they call them? Champions. I forget the other term that I would see. But they're evangelists, right? The product evangelists for these companies, and that's been super common in the tech sector for over a decade. I've seen those out of the Silicon Valley and the West Coast and Austin. But I'm starting to see it now in MSP land, where for the last 2 years you have people that are just there are people within the community that are your advocates, your champions, your evangelists talking about it. I've always been a big fan of that. We call them our champions, where they're talking about it from their experiences. It's not a marketing person. It's somebody that uses your product and they know it inside and out, and they're happy to talk at any opportunity to talk about how great you are, or the things that are not your strengths. They talk about your weaknesses too, but that could be a plus.
Yeah.
So, I definitely keep an eye out for those. We have Lauren and we have many others on our side, and Tim, many on our side, and Shabir, and very happy to have them. Very fortunate.
We actually we don't call them advocates in our space or our clients. We here you can see it. We call them badass MSPs.
I love that.
and so the badass MSPs are our whole take is we make you a badass. So you'll see these guys walking around with our shirts on. And so other MSPs could talk to them about, what makes you badass. And they'll talk about how focusing on your team, your culture, your processes, using Crewhu as a platform, helps us do it. And because we have a product that people like to talk about, that helps us generate more business in the channel. It's not just me going out and talking about this is what we do. You got to try it. It's MSPs using it and talking about it. And you could do the same thing in your industry, right? You could have your same badass ambassadors. Let's talk about how great you are as an MSP, because it's hard. It's hard to differentiate yourself on product, right? But if you have people talking about you and your service, which is hard to measure, you'll be able to increase the velocity.
So toward that end, I'm a member of multiple communities. So besides the chat here, I'm getting pinged on a couple other communities in DMs. One of the things somebody asked me to ask you, and I know you didn't want to do this about a pitch about Crewhu, and I appreciate that. This is really education and betterment for the community. But you do have a product that does help you garner this information and act on it. There are several products in the space that do it to some extent. Not asking you to speak ill of others. The question was asked, what makes you guys stand out? What is besides, you're here talking about it, but what makes Crewhu stand out in the space?
The difference between us, and there are good products out there that collect surveys, and hats off to them. And it's the people that want to create the opportunities to recognize their employees easily, right? So we take the customer satisfaction piece and the employee recognition and rewards piece, and we have that all on one platform, right? And our mission at the end of the day is to help create an engaged and motivated team, to help create a strong service culture. Right. So we're able to do that.
I can't tell you how many times I've been interviewing people over the last 6 months, a year. And we know it's a very employee friendly market right now where they can pretty much go anywhere they want. And, you talk to them and it's not money that they're concerned about. It's not, obviously work-life balance. Yes. Being able to work remotely, it's a big thing. But a lot of times they just don't feel like they're being recognized for the work they're doing. Which is sad, what I mean? I mean, these people, at minimum, they're doing 40 hours a week, keeping your company running and having those interactions with your clients. And they're, for all intents and purposes, they're the public face of your company, right? When they're talking to your clients and to the outside world, and to hear it come back where they don't get the appreciation or they don't feel like their superiors, their boss or managers, whatever, know what they're doing or how effective they are at their jobs. That those are usually the red flags I see that tells me the kind of companies they're coming from, right? Those are the same companies that have poor processes or poor procedures, poor communication, documentation, that kind of fun stuff. Because it all ties back to the same, being able to quantify, being able to look at the data and quantify and act on it, whether it's outward facing or inward on your team. And, how do you tell an employee how to make them better if you don't know what they're doing now. These are all responsibilities for any kind of employer.
Yeah, and it's like having a bank account. If you're a manager that all you do is come out of your office when there's a problem and start with the question why, you're gonna lose the engagement of your team. You know, oh, here comes manager Mike. He's gonna complain about something else. Now, if you're a manager that takes every opportunity to recognize people for the small things, right? Doesn't have to be big. The small things, you're building up that amount of money in that bank, right? So when something does go wrong and you're like, well, you know, what happened here? It's okay, because you're not just coming at them with the bad stuff. And you know, that's our mission, right? We want to make it easy to be able to recognize the guys, to be able to celebrate those small daily wins. That engages the team. If you have an engaged team, you're going to kick ass. Simple.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Absolutely. It's funny. We were talking in the green room before the show started about, you know, I have offices in Miami Lakes. And we have one of the offices is part commercial office, part warehouse. And when we needed privacy to go talk to somebody, we take them to the warehouse, and it became associated with like a negative thing. You were being taken to the warehouse for like a bad thing. And it wasn't always that. Sometimes it was performance review. Sometimes it was just checking in on people, but it was that you're going to the principal's office, you know, and it was like, so we became management started focusing on making sure there were additional interactions there that had a good connotation, to kind of get them to break that habit of thinking, oh, it's always a negative whenever you go to the warehouse. And I'm always cognizant of that now, especially now that we're fully remote. You know, when I go say, hey, do you have a minute to jump on a call? Make sure there's good interactions, you know, that it's not always bad. It's not always, hey, you screwed up or whatever. Because it needs to be balanced. Otherwise, they're terrified of talking to you, and that you never want to have that as an employer.
No, absolutely not. You have to talk about the good as much as you talk about the bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we're coming, you know, close to the end. I did want to just summarize, you know, with Crewhu, you know, we help collect feedback, we help collect CSAT, MPS, but we also make it easy to recognize your guys, and I mean that's what we do every day. And you know, I usually when I'm up on stage, I talk about how you know, I want you to, whether you try us or not, I want you to leave here with at least 3 gold nuggets, or else you basically wasted your time. And I don't want to ever be on a panel or an interview or give a presentation where they feel like their time's wasted. I like to summarize you know, what we've covered in this presentation, and that you can take back, palpable things you can take back to your organization today. And number 1 is communicate the impact the team could have, right? Don't just say collect Google reviews. Tell them, talk about the statistics that I mentioned today that we discussed together, Ray, and let them know what kind of impact they have. Talk about the profit that we mentioned, that if you just bring in one new customer, that's $15,000 of profit that goes to the company that you guys could reuse to invest in company growth, right? In employee growth. Number 2, highlight reviews with the team. We didn't go into this really, but a really good best practice is when a Google review does come in, and if you have your daily meetings with the team, read it out loud like I read out the review from Clear, you know, and let everybody know clearly who's responsible for getting the review, right? First of all, it reinforces the importance to the team. Secondly, that person feels recognized. Even if you don't reward anything, they feel recognized for being called out for it. Formally recognize the team for hitting goals, right? So there's KPIs that you could track within Crewhu. You could also, track it somehow manually yourself, but your CSAT score, your NPS score, your conversion rate, the number of Google reviews or online reviews that you're getting. And you could do this per week, per month. You could have a contest on doing that. Contests are awesome.
We did that. we did that. We gave out rewards in the company for getting the most reviews. Actually, we rewarded for every review, but we had a winner circle and stuff for the most reviews, and it was fun. We had a good time doing it.
Yeah, and in Crewhu, we have the contest module where you're able to do that in a more automated, more public way. But for somehow try to create that excitement. And Ray, you mentioned for the team, individual contests are cool. Team contests are also very cool, and it gets everybody working together. I love team contests. So kudos to that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then finally, the launch CSAT and NPS, and have a workflow where it goes to your online reviews. I mentioned Google again because Google's the tried and true for this market. So I'm hoping that in summary, at least 3 of these things are something that you could wrap your head around and go back to your business and do. We do have a feedback slide, and I think we have a feedback link because we like feedback here. And we'd like to know, give us, a great rating if you felt like you got 3 to 5 gold nuggets. If you got none, give us a bad rating. I want to hear, so we could make it better, right? You're right. Good feedback is good. Bad feedback is good. No feedback is bad. So please leave us a review. We'd appreciate that. We also have a promotion. If you want to try it, there's no commitment. It's a free trial. I think we have a link for that as well. Where you and if you sign up at this event here, you get 15% off of the Badass plan because you're a Badass MSP. And we'll also give you $100 credit towards the store. And that's the store you use to reward your people on our platform. So we'll start you off there because we think that it's really important to recognize and reward your guys for the small things they do on a daily basis.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And I got to give you credit. I got to give you guys kudos because we've done, I want to say probably 60, 70 of these. And you are the very first to ever have your own survey link after one of these partner first. So that is, holding to not just, that's practicing what you preach right there. I absolutely love that. And Simon, maybe we should start doing those, surveys after our partner first and our other stuff too, to see how we're doing, right? Let's own it. So, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You guys have some cool stuff coming up. I want to bring up, Caesar. Caesar, what do you guys have coming up, man?
Yeah, as always, just for everyone who's visited us at previous events, we love to keep the the environment and what we do interactive. So visit us at any of these events that are coming up to win a prize or get one of the really cool badass t-shirts that we typically give away. So feel free to come by our booth. This year we actually just finished off Robin Robbins Producers Club just this last January actually. But we will be at Exchange in March. So that's February 27th. And then I think it goes up to March 1st. And then we'll be in Nashville for second quarterly Robin Robbins boot camp, actually. And then a Producers Club as well in July, Exchange as well in August, Next Gen in October. And we'll also be at DattoCon and IT Nation, which I'm sure if you've attended these events, they're pretty large, but feel free to visit us at the booth, as I said, to either win a prize, meet the team. But again, if you've got questions on how to improve your online reputation and leveraging your happy customers, Or, if you want to build a rewarding environment and company culture, or should I say badass culture through gamification, visit us at the booth. Or if you just want to give us a shot and try the platform, as Stephen was saying, we do have that promotion specifically for this event. So feel free to sign up, try us out, and when you're ready, take advantage of that promotion as well. If you are more of a, walk through the process, you can also book a demo with one of our account reps that can also walk you through the platform, the ins and outs and how to set things up. So all of that is available through this platform. I think it's in the chat, but so we look forward to seeing you guys at these events.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you educating us on how to become badass MSPs. I definitely look forward to meeting up with you guys at future events. Simon, we have our own events coming up for badass MSPs. You want to share what's coming up, man? You're muted, dude.
That's a badass move for webinars. All right. So we have some badass events coming up, and the first one is tonight, actually at 6 p.m. So Ray will be joining Carl Spooner of MSP Geek. They'll be doing the Geekcast Future Now event. So talking about what's new for MSPs in 2022. And then we're also at an in-person event right now. We have Sean Lardo, our VP of Partner Development. He's at the 7-Figure MSP Live Pre-Day Meetup, which that's presented by Lifecycle Insights in Phoenix, Arizona. We're also going to be there the 27th, tomorrow, and the 28th in Phoenix, Arizona. And then on February 2nd, next week on Wednesday at 1 p.m., we have an exciting webinar with Fin Security. And then to finish it off, the following week on February 15th at 1 p.m., Ray will be joining Kyle Henslevin for a DV webinar, which you guys will hear more about in the upcoming weeks.
Absolutely. So thank you, all you badass MSPs, all you ISPs, TSPs, anything, OPP, UNITY, all you guys, the OIT family, we appreciate you. Until next time, I will see you. Have an awesome rest of your day. Later, guys.
Thanks, everyone.